must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
In our situation, in the last 24 hours, a total of 69 samples from suspected cases of coronavirus have been analyzed in our various laboratories. Out of those, we have received confirmation that 4 people have tested positive for the disease. They include 1 Kenyan and 3 foreigners from America, Cameroon, and Burkina Faso. This now brings to 42 the number of those who have tested positive for the virus in Kenya. Of the 4 confirmed cases, 3 are based in Nairobi and 1 from Mombasa. Consequently, Nairobi continues to lead with 31 cases, followed by Kilifi with 6, Mombasa with 3, while Kajiado and Kwale have 1 each. 24 out of the 42, 24 are male, while 18 are female. Tracing of contacts continues and is ongoing. The total number of close contacts that we are monitoring as we speak are 1,426. Out of this number, 215 have been discharged after completing the mandatory 14-day follow-up period. Currently, our teams are monitoring nearly 1,000 people who have been in close contact. We have 18 individuals admitted at Bagathi Hospital waiting test results. Today, our medical teams have embarked on a mass testing for all those persons who arrived in the country last week and are currently under mandatory quarantine in various designated hotels and government facilities. These tests are based on the arrival dates. However, those who will test positive will be taken to isolation facilities. The exercise will continue until those in the facilities are all tested. We want to appeal to all Kenyans to embrace the fight against coronavirus, as opposed to assuming that this is a government affair, because it is not. And to that effect, it is really, really wrong and disheartening for those particularly in leadership to continue perpetuating false information that have got nothing to do with the real cases, trying to gain political mileage out of a disease is as immoral as anyone could ever imagine. It is the worst of what we can see in terms of political maneuver, and it is wrong. It symbolizes everything that is wrong with our society. For instance, we have noted that misinformation is doing the rounds in social media, where a leader in the country is claiming that there are over 7,000 people in mandatory quarantine. And while this may ultimately be the case, and perhaps even more people might get into quarantine, it is simply, at the moment, not true. So why would you wish, as a leader of society? It sounds like a wish. Why would you wish that 7,000 Kenyans should be in quarantine? And why would you think that the government is not telling you the truth? To hide it for what purpose? So it's really disheartening. And for the record, we have 2,050 people currently in mandatory quarantine in 14 designated places in hotels and government designated places. So it's unethical really for anyone, and more so one purporting to be a leader, to mislead people for whatever reasons they may particularly have in regards to the fight against coronavirus. Fellow Kenyans, we want to inform you that we are expanding our capacity for the purposes of intervention measures, particularly in the counties. I want to take this opportunity to say that as NAC, we are particularly grateful to the initiatives of the private sector and other donor communities who are working with the government are achieving. Private sector, for instance, has identified various areas, including schools, including air freight hangars, that can be used if the need were to arise. They can be used as hospitals, isolation facilities, if we were to go that far. And let me make it clear that there is no country on earth that has managed to contain this disease on just existing health facilities. So we know that going forward, it is indeed very likely that our health facilities can and could be overrun by just the demands. And this is why we are saying this is not a government issue alone. The protection of each individual's life, the protection against this disease is an individual responsibility as it is a community responsibility. And what we are asking our community, the business community, the religious community, everybody, is let us think ahead together. Let us ask ourselves realistically, if in other countries, if the British NHS, National Health Service in the UK, has already been overrun by the demands of the illness, even Italy it has happened, and even America is claiming that they don't have this and they don't have the other, and their health facilities have also been overrun. Isn't it realistic to imagine that it could also happen here? And criticizing the government at that point is just adding insult to injury to Kenyans. It is at that point that we as a nation should do what we have always done in times of extreme testing and in times of extreme challenges. We have always come together in our communities, in our villages, and done what needs to be done. In this particular case, we need to be looking as communities in your villages, what are the secondary schools, particularly boarding secondary schools, that we can begin to identify as potential areas where we can keep the sick if the situation overruns. We ought to be identifying what sort of Nyumba Kumi initiatives should we have. If that happens, there will be no need to cry wolf and to start blaming the government at that point, because it will be late. We need to think about owning this process as a government, as a community, and as Kenyans. Let us appreciate this is a Kenyan's issue, and every Kenyan should be on board to try and resolve the problem long before it becomes a menace to the rest of us and to all of us. So when I do this, I do not do so to minimize or diminish our responsibility as a government. I do so as a clarion call for us as Kenyans to be ready for any eventuality. We have always done that in times challenged. such as this that we expect. At the same time, I want to urge employers, as I did yesterday, to kindly release their employees in time to be able to meet the curfew time of 7 p.m. If they do not want to allow their employees to leave on time, then they should prepare accommodation for them. What they cannot do is to release somebody half an hour before 7 o'clock, or at a time that they are so sure that they cannot get home by 7 o'clock. So if you cannot release your employees on time, please prepare accommodation for them. It is unfair to release somebody half an hour, 6:30, and they live in a distant, they live in Thika, and you tell them they should leave at 6:30. It is unfair, and it should not happen. And this is where we ask for responsibility, even amongst our business community. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I come to the end, I would like to once again emphasize the need for us to observe hygienic behavior. We are asking each and every person, and as I said yesterday, if you look at the person next to you, given the fact that we have 42 people now who are spread in the counties that we have established, when you look at the person next to you, they will not have any sign that they are unwell. They will not have any sign, that they are positive, but they could well be positive. Keeping your distance, physical distance, is what is going to ensure that you do not also become positive. That's a responsibility you owe to yourself. Thank you very much indeed.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. Down Miriam in Nairobi, thank you very much. Miles away from me, I think. Have I changed the attire today? I think you have been. I saw you in the red in the morning, and I decided, let me go back to my old wardrobe and see what I can do. You look so nice, fantastic. That is fantastic. Thank you very much. This is Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the command center, political command center of Punchline Africa Television, with Miriam in the headquarters, miles away from us. Thank you very much. Because of social distancing, we are miles, and we are through our satellite in Berlin. We are on. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Miriam.
A very good afternoon, Doctor. I don't know why you changed. We should have, we woke up with the same vibes in the morning, and we were sort of in the same theme, but still you look nice. So thank you so much. From the headquarters, we're doing all right, and so we're ready and geared for the show.
I was advised by Stephen to make a change.
Oh,
and that is exactly, well, he called me to make a change because we seem to be in red colors, and that is okay, but this is exactly ourselves, and we are here to serve the nation. As journalists, our role is to serve the nation and to talk about the things which matter to the country. And this afternoon, today at this 11 minutes past 3 p.m. East African Standard Time, we are going to discuss a very important, and the show, Diplomatic Leaks. We have an important message. Miriam, can you give it to them?
Yes, indeed. And on the diplomatic leaks today, we seek to see a reflection on Wuhan and the hope for Africa. And what lessons can we borrow from how China dealt with the situation? We know Wuhan, initially in the Hubei province in China, was the epicenter of this epidemic, which has now spread over. And now we've seen Europe pick up, and now it's the new epicenter. But China, the way it moved in so fast, and what are some of the measures and some of the things that China put in place that ensured the spread of the COVID-19 is curtailed, and what can we learn from that and borrow and apply it here in Africa, especially because right now as it is, the numbers are still very low, and it is our prayer and our hope that the numbers continue to be low. So how can we manage this situation? So we shall look at that moving forward.
Thank you very much, viewers, wherever you are. Thank you very much. We want to tell you that we are on, and we shall look at the reflections on Wuhan and the hope for Africa and the world. Do we have any lessons? Lessons that show us how did these people conquer what they have? We are not, but before we do that, we shall cross over across to Afia House. And we want to listen to we shall go across the house. We would like to listen to the Minister of the CS for Health, Kagwe, Mutahi Kagwe. I don't know whether the production team on the ground in Nairobi is ready, Miriam?
They're working on it, and when they're ready to have us go to Afia's house, of course, we shall go there in just a bit, but they're working on it. So very soon we should be, linking up.
As soon as we cross over to Afia House, where the meetings have been taking place, and we want to see the brief that the Minister of Health of Kenya is making. Miriam advises me from the general headquarters that we shall listen in when they are ready. But we were ready to fire. I was ready to start firing, and we have already fired. We want to thank our listeners, our viewers, wherever you were in southern Cameroon and in other parts of the world, that stay tuned. We are bringing you the real facts, and we shall have this morning, as I told you, I watched one of my friend's daughters who is in Wuhan, and I will bring you that story. But this evening, I will be talking direct, the first person journalist to talk direct to Wuhan. Yes, from online.
All right.
So Kenya has confirmed eight more cases. Oh my God. So it means it brings our case to 50.
Mm-hmm.
Kenya has confirmed 8 more cases. Breaking news just coming out from the minister's address. Miriam.
Yes.
Are we improving? Are we hitting the roof? What do you think is the situation?
Well, I don't think we are hitting the roof yet, but I think also an increase of numbers was expected owing to the number of people who were under quarantine and under self-quarantine and also under mandatory quarantine, who had flown in from outside the country, who were put under quarantine, and also the people who had come in contact with the initial people who had tested positive for the COVID-19. So I think an increase was sort of expected. So I don't think this is a surprise to the nation. But yes, now we've hit 50 in the morning. Yesterday, the last press conference, the country had confirmed 42 cases so far. We've lost one person, but also that one person had other pre-existing conditions. And now the total number of people who have contracted this disease, this illness, now is 50. So, well, the numbers all of a sudden have ballooned, but still, I don't think we've hit the ceiling. But also the increase really was expected owing to the people who had come into contact with the people who are tested positive, and also the people who had traveled into this country from outside, who are coming also from other places that had been affected by this pandemic. So the numbers were expected.
So the numbers have increased. 8 more tested confirmed cases from Kenya, and the Minister of Health, the CS for Health in Kenya speaking. I can pick him from here and he will be heard from that side.
No, they're ready here. So I think we'll just link with them. I think the production is telling me they're ready. So.
We need to protect our youth who are in this industry as border riders. And therefore, we will now require that any border rider, to protect himself, must carry only one passenger so as to maintain some level of distance. Secondly, the border rider and the passenger must wear masks for protection. We shall be spreading out masks in the counties for this purpose, but irrespective, they must wear, the border rider and the passenger must both wear masks. We expect border association leaders to oversee this process and ensure its implementation. The police will obviously be enforcing the same. Having said that, let me repeat that we are doing so to protect both the border riders, and you can imagine how many people a border rider has behind him for per day, and they have no idea who has got the virus and who hasn't. This is a measure so that that business can continue if it continues to follow the rules. Following the imposition of the curfew in our country, we are now urging the employers to release their employees at 4 p.m. from the workstations. This will enable people to be able to make travel arrangements to their houses before 7 p.m., which is the curfew time. Further, we are giving an advisory that we are encouraging those who stay in Nairobi against traveling up country during this period. Statistics have shown that majority of our elderly people live up country and that they are likely to get exposed, as it happened in Italy, by this kind of movement. Therefore, we would like to urge in the strongest terms possible to urge those who live in Nairobi to stay in Nairobi, those living up country to avoid traveling to Nairobi as much as they can, and when they do, to keep the social and physical distances that we are talking about. Finally, I want to clarify the issue with regards to flights in the country. As we indicated earlier, cargo flights are not restricted to fly in the country. This is to ensure that the economy is cushioned from the hard realities we are facing because of this disease. Most of them are bringing in medicines, among other items for use in the country. The cargo flights are not carrying any passengers. So if you see a German cargo flight or a Chinese cargo flight, please appreciate that they are not bringing passengers here. At the same time, there are also planes landing to evacuate foreign nationals who are here. For example, there will be 2 planes landing, I think today and tomorrow, to evacuate some German nationals who are in Mombasa. Today, we held a meeting between ourselves and the Council of Governors. And there are other measures that we have we made today that will be announced in a joint communique between the Ministry of Interior and the Council of Governors. I thank you all. Kama nilivyosema, nyinyi wenyewe mumejionea ile hesabu. Nimesema hapa watu 50 washaambukizwa na hii virusi. Vile vile nimesema sasa vile tumeona ni kwamba wale watu ambao wameambukizwa si ni wale walitembea ama ni wageni. Sasa ni kusema ya kwamba virusi iko hapa nchini na inaenea. Kwa hivyo ni kusema ni lazima tujikinge na ni lazima tujitayarishe kupigana na hii virusi na njia ya juu zaidi. Kwa sababu sasa ni kusema ya kwamba kila mtu, ukiangalia kila mtu, ukiwa karibu na kila mtu, uelewe ya kwamba anaweza kuwa ashaambukizwa. Kwa sababu wale walitutembelea, walikuja wakaambukiza watu hapa nchini, hao nao wameendelea kuambukiza wengine ambao tuko nao hapa. Na hata wakati huu tulipohesabu hawa 50 ambao wako hapa, kuna wengine 14 ambao tunafanya test ingine tuone kama kwamba wako nayo, lakini hawa nitasema kesho. Lakini kwa wakati huu ni kuwahimiza ndugu zanguni, nimesema wale watu wanahudumia bodaboda ni lazima pia wajikinge, kwa sababu abiria wale wanabeba, huwezi kuelewa kama yule unambeba ako na virusi ama hana. Na kwa sababu wewe hujui, ni afadhali wewe unaweka ile kitambaa ya uso ama ya pua, na yeye pia anavaa hiyo kitambaa. Mkiwa nyinyi wawili mmevaa, basi ni kusema hata mmoja akiwa mgonjwa, basi pengine hata muambukiza huyo mwenzake. Kwa hivyo tafadhalini jameni, tuliambiwa mpaka chamvunguni lazima ainame. Chamvunguni shetu hapa ni kujikinga, ni kupigana na hii virusi. Kuinama ni kunawa mkono, ni kusafisha, ni kuwa na usafi, na vile vile kukaa mbali kidogo na mwenzako. Usije kumkaribia sana. Vile ukikaribia watu ni kusema wanaweza kukuambukiza we mwenyewe, na wewe ukiambukizwa utaendelea sasa kuambukiza wengine. Kwa hivyo tafadhalini wa Kenya, fuateni vile serikali inasema. Tufuate vile serikali inasema. Nimesema ya kwamba wale watu ambao wako Nairobi, watu wakaaji wa Nairobi, sasa tunamsihi mkae Nairobi. Msianze kutembea, msiende popote. Msiende Ushago, msiende kutembea Mombasa ama pahali pengine, kwa sababu sana kwanza Ushago, huko ndio kina mama wanakaa, wazee ndio wanakaa, na hivi virusi inaonyesha ya kwamba mzee akiipata kupona ni ngumu, sio kama vijana. Kwa hivyo sisi wale ambao ni vijana, mkiwa hamtaki kuua wale wazee, basi kaeni hapa Nairobi, msiende huko nyumbani mpaka siku hizi ziishe, tuone vile hii virusi inaenea. Asanteni sana.
Question? Nimwambia kaya. Ni nini hiyo inalia?
First and foremost, we have said that we have not stopped work. We have not stopped people from working. Let's start from there. Because if you are on a night shift, you should be able to go to night shift. If you are on a day shift, you should be able to go on a day shift. But in terms of the difficult times that clearly everybody is going to experience, we have plans as a government to see how we can assist people as much as we can, including the answer to your question regarding foodstuffs. But what we would like to urge is also communities. The business community has already volunteered to do to take over some of the issues that you have said. In fact, even providing food in certain cases. But what we are also asking is let our communities work together for a change. Let people be together. Let's share what one has. I'm also asking the employers, please do not withhold people's salaries, people's wages, just because of the situation that currently exists. And for clarification, the 4 p.m. departure is not to say that you start reducing people's pay or people's salaries. It is simply to allow them to leave a bit earlier. Some of the people that we are dealing with have helped employers for many, many years. It is time also for employers to support them the way that employees have also supported these companies. So it's time to give. This is a time to give. It's a time to sacrifice, and we all should, and we all must. And for further clarification, yesterday, when we were talking about the number of cases that we had, one of the people that we announced, we said that was an American, but it has further been clarified that the person had actually traveled to America, but was not an American, and that is regretted.
You didn't mention that the coming 14 days are going to be crucial, especially for the authorities and for Kenyans. In terms of the progress, what are our greatest advantages? Because we are so far 1 week into the 2 weeks, and what are our greatest fears? How are we doing in terms of, even as the numbers are coming in, we are at 50 right now. Where are we in terms of comparison with how this particular pandemic has affected other nations, and especially Europe? So are we scared? Should we be worried right now? Or is it a thumbs up for us? I
hear you. Let me put it this way. It appears that the modeling of this disease varies from place to place. Because I think it is almost a month since we announced, it's going on to a month, since we announced the first case. Now, when you look at other countries, the examples from other countries, it's very different. Some countries are very different from what we have experienced. But so it evolves, we simply have to evolve it as we go along. We have obviously experts who are trying to model for us and to tell us, if we are at 50 now, where do we expect to be in the next 1 week? And you know this, if we maintain distance, then it cannot grow exponentially. But if we do not maintain distance, obviously it will grow exponentially. Because what it means is that if I have it, and I'm contacting all these people, they are all going to get it. But if I don't come in contact with any of them, it means I'm likely to stay alone and possibly turn negative at some point. That is why the most successful cases are cases where people agreed to keep social distance, to wash their hands, and to take the disease seriously. It is those countries that have done well, and it is in those countries that people are able to maintain it. We still have a chance. According to the statistics that are there, when you look at the growth patterns in other nations, it tells you that Kenyans have still got a chance if and only if we can take the steps that we are proposing and follow them diligently. People should not look at it as if the government is trying to force them to do something. On the contrary, knowing now what we know, and knowing that the transmission is here now, what we should be doing is saying to ourselves, this is the time for us to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. If I have the virus within 14 days, it will show. If you can stay away from me for 14 days, if I have it, it will show you and you can stay away from me then. But what we are saying is that there is no pattern that we can really say, this is the one that Kenya is going to follow. Everything depends on what we do. Tenina?
How many tests do we have in total?
We have over 20,000 test kits in the country. The Jack Ma ones, and we are getting donations every day. In fact, as late as today, I got another 2,000.
Have they been validated?
There is nothing we use without validating. All samples, and sometimes we do get some testing kits. And when we validate, for whatever reason they don't work, so we validate everything. You can't use test kits that you have not validated.
So now that you have bought 2 dozen tests, what is the capacity?
Not 2 dozen. 20,000.
What is the challenge in terms of testing? You started mass testing yesterday, only 172 samples. What is the issue? How come you can't test so many more cases, perhaps 500 in a day? You have satellite testing stations in Kilifi. You have the national influenza.
I am going to ask the technical person here, Dr. Amoth, to respond to that one. Is there any other technical issue that one might want him to respond to? Okay, Dr. Amoth, maybe you can. Sorry, let me take it and then I'll leave it and give it to Dr. Amoth.
That yes. In the next, there are plans to convert certain secondary schools as part of isolation centers. We've seen a tweet from the Deputy President stating that counties have been directed they will be told to have about 20 secondary schools per county to be used as isolation centers. First, do you have the medical personnel to run these medical institutions, or are they part of the 1,000 that you're planning? And then the last one is, we've seen countries like Nigeria converting stadiums. There are plans possibly just besides schools to look at other areas that will be used as isolation centers if the situation worsens.
Okay. First and foremost, thank you, Chemutai. As far as we are concerned, there is nothing that is not on the table. We have seen what other countries are doing. We have seen field hospitals, we have seen people working in stadiums, and so on. One of the unique advantages that Kenya has is this idea of boarding schools. I think people do not appreciate that there are very many countries without boarding schools, or very few boarding schools. These boarding school facilities for us can take as many as 300,000. There are at least 300,000 boarding students in Kenya. And therefore, the boarding schools on their own can take quite a number of patients. But having said that, we are also saying that even the fields, even airport hangars are available to us for that purpose. if it becomes necessary. I think I'm going to ask Dr. Amoth reply to your second part, and also the issue of the test kits, as well as any other technical issue that you might want answered. Dr. Amoth.
Thank you, Waziri. Let me reiterate by first speaking to Seth's question regarding, just to add clarity to what Waziri said. One thing that could work to our advantage is the fact that our population is more youthful. So potentially it is possible that our people will be able to catch the virus, but probably just pass on as a mild illness. On the contrary, what may work against us, of course, is our weak health system, and of course our disease burden, especially HIV. Especially when we have community transmission as confirmed by Waziri, then especially those who are not adherent to the medicines would have lack of viral suppression, therefore could be at risk. So the youthful population will work to our advantage, but of course our high burden of communicable diseases could disrupt that advantage. Number two, we have done modeling to see the kind of numbers that we are going to have. As Waziri said, this virus is not following a particular trend. Our modeling puts us at having about 1,000 cases by the first week of April, and we postulate that we'll have 5,000 cases by mid-April, and potentially 10,000 cases by 30th of April. So those are the figures that we are working with in terms of how we preposition our personal protective equipment, how we preposition our test kits, how we preposition our human resource, and how we preposition our isolation and quarantine facilities. So we have done a bit of modeling. Nature sometimes does not obey science, but we believe if it works along that way, then the actions that we take, we will be able to pretty be sure that we can be able to be in control. In terms of the testing, we have agreed in consultation with our technical team that we are only going to test those who are in quarantine after the 8th day. So yesterday we managed to test about 140 something. Half of that population came from people in quarantine. So as we go ahead, we are going to increase the number of people tested. But remember also, the laboratory capacity that we have, we can only do 300 samples in 24 hours. We are working very hard to ensure that Moi Teaching Referral Hospital comes up in the course of this week to be able to provide additional testing capacity. So going forward, we anticipate that we are going to do a minimum of 300 tests every 24 hours. Thank you.
So really, we just want to assure all Kenyans that we are working very hard as a ministry, as a government, as a health sector, as a country, a whole government approach to addressing the challenge that is currently facing us of coronavirus. And the team that we have been meeting with this evening has been a team of experts, some health workers, experts in communication, experts in social media, all looking at how we work together to make sure that, number one, Kenyans are aware, they are well sensitized about what we are dealing with, that we all also learn what precautionary measures we need to take to ensure that we can prevent ourselves from getting coronavirus, and also to ensure that we protect our families. The team of experts here has been doing a lot of work in terms of their own practice, the clinical practice, the protocols around coronavirus. This is a new virus that the medics have never dealt with, that the entire health workers have not dealt with. Feel that you're very ill to go into a matatu, to go to hospital, we really recommend that you call the 719 line and get us to come and pick you through through an ambulance which has got specialized facilities.
That we all also learn what precautionary measures we need to take to ensure that we can prevent.
Good afternoon again. Thank you very much. That was the Minister, the CS for Health of Kenya, Mr. Mutahi Kagwe, briefing the nation and the world on what is happening in Kenya. So far, the main points coming out from Kenya are very clear. The people so far tested, and they said, Miriam, how many do they have? 20,000?
Right now, so far, Kenya has a case of 50 people who have been confirmed with the virus, and they're saying that the government is working on a minimum testing 300 people per 24 hours. And also for those who have been complaining, we've seen a lot of Kenyans who came from outside the country sharing on social media and with other Kenyans that since they've come back to the country, they've not been tested. Well, the CS there has said that you have to be under quarantine for 8 days for them to carry out the test. So that is the reason why some Kenyans who arrived in the country and have not stayed in the quarantine centers for 8 days have not been tested yet. So in case you are wondering why, then that is why after 8 days they will be tested. And also, yes, especially on the matter of border borders, the motorbike taxis, he's really sensitized on that. It appears that they don't understand that they have a high risk of contracting this virus because they don't protect themselves, and also the passengers they're carrying are not protected. So he really is pleading with these people to ensure that they are safe even as they go about their work.
So thank you very much, viewers. That is what the minister, we seem to be going up in terms of recipients that are testing positive, but it should not dampen our hearts. That is what is expected. At least the treatment will be given, and let's expect the treatment to be completed, and we shall have recovered people recovering, coming out. After all, we have seen so many people in other countries of Africa recovering. And the topic that I had wanted to do today is, viewers, we want to cross over. This morning, I've told you we have now started getting telephone calls inside Wuhan. And in Wuhan, there are people, there are Ugandans, there are South Africans, there are Zimbabweans. South Africa is very pleased. I'm very pleased also equally with the Chinese authorities that some one or two of my relatives is safe. First one is a Ugandan person who is a student in Wuhan University, who will tell us, and we have the courtesy of NBS TV all the way from Kampala. Thank you very much. We want you to listen to this video and then come back if they are ready. I don't know whether they are ready.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, we want you to listen to this video and then come back. We come back and see the personal experience, the discipline, the type of discipline, what is inside Wuhan itself. And this is Punchline Africa Television, the only television now that is able to bring you a live, a recorded statement from inside Wuhan. Tomorrow or tonight, we shall have a live telephone conversation with somebody live, another relative of mine, live in Wuhan. And we shall be able to see what is being done, what can be done, what Kenya can do. How did these younger people stick together? How did the Chinese? One of the things that interested me in this video that you are going to see is the coat. They give you a green coat, which means you must wear that green coat to know as a mark. Here we might grapple in most of African countries. We might grapple. We are releasing people to go out. This is something that the minister and the other people should learn from. They should draw a particular clause that will show that this person has already been tested or he's free of it. Because there is a question of stigmatization, which could also work against or for. So let's learn from reflection. We shall come back to the main subject because it has, but I want to do something here, which Miriam should do. Allah, there you are. Thank you very much, our viewers. Stay home, stay safe. If possible, stay home, stay safe. We shall make another one of keep a distance. Mr. Production Manager, you hear that? Keep a distance, 2 meters away. We shall make another one, wash your hands. A tap. These are some of the things, educational things that we are doing in order to keep this subject workable. Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. God bless you. Let's listen in to this beautiful, beautiful video.
Different today, yes. The stories, and we want to touch base with Barbara Nwajira. She's one of the students who was trapped in Wuhan. A very good morning, Barbara. Is what we are receiving back home the reality on the ground in Wuhan? Barbara, in Uganda we're being told, okay, globally we're being told that China is on top of the game in the fight against coronavirus. Is the lockdown over? Are you now walking freely?
Good morning to you all. I would love to say that yes, the lockdown is not permanently over. It is still on, but it is partially lifted. Like some public transportation systems are now working, but not all of them. And at the same time, like the metro is also working and some businesses are now open, but not all of them are open.
Well, are you still living in fear, given the new trend of things?
Right now, we are not anymore living in fear. We are actually so relieved that at last we have seen light, and at the end of it all, we are going to be let out of our homes where we have been quarantined for over 2.5 months. So we are so happy and we are actually so relieved. We are no longer fearful. But at the same time, there is also the other bit of fear according to the restrictions that are given to us, and also making it so strict that people from Hubei, from Wuhan, will not access Beijing until further notice. So it still gives it leaves some bit of fear, but not as such. At least about the COVID-19, we are so relieved that it is not anymore spreading.
Now that you have a sense of relief, would I be right to guess that studies are resuming soon, or you're still on hold?
And no, we are still studying online. Actually, since the 17th of February up to date, we are still studying online, and we are still told that that will be the process until further communication will be made, because most students are not currently in the country. They are outside China.
How much money did government send you?
If I convert it to Ugandan shillings, it was about 2.2 million shillings.
Has it been helpful at all to you? And is your wallet still still loaded.
I can say surely it was much helpful, and as per now, I will not say that my wallet is still so happy, but if at all goes bad, I'm looking for help from my parents. They're also there to cater for a few needs.
How do your other colleagues feel now that you have some bit of relief?
Yes.
How do your colleagues at school, the ones from Uganda, how do they feel now that at least there is some sigh of relief?
For us here, the panic that we really had, the fear that we were living with, the trauma that we had, though a few things are still happening, but as much as we are relieved, but we are also now scared for our home people, for our country, Uganda, because the home is the best, so we are still so much scared. But as for our living here, we are so relieved and we are okay with it. We hope for the best also in the whole world.
Take us through your ordinary day. Now that the lockdown has been partially lifted, what do you do in the morning, for instance? How do you travel? What exactly do you do as a precaution?
I can as well assure you that for us, we are still indoors. We are still kept indoors, because we have to get permission to travel, to get outside. And that permission will be given by the health department, where they are telling us that each and every person will have a green code. And it will only be that code that allows you move outside of your home and use either the public facilities or the public means. So as for now, they have not yet issued those green codes to us. So we are still kept in our university. But they say by 8th of April, that will be done, and then we will be able to get outside and maybe do a shopping and meet all the other necessities that we ever wanted.
So who is feeding you at the moment?
For my institution, for my university, they are still feeding us like it was before. But for the other people who were not fed, they are still taking care of themselves. We still have the online shopping, so we buy and they do the deliveries.
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Barbara. Stay safe, dear.
I love the fact that Barbara looks very bright too as well. Not like she was about 2 months back. She's very lively. She looks.
Then she was red.
She was. Definitely.
Then she was red. Now you can really see hope is returning. And we know hope will be returning. For now, all we can do is to stay safe.
Yeah.
And as we stay safe, there are a number of things that we have to adjust to. Let's wash hands, guys.
As much as possible. Don't count how many times you've washed your hands.
Let's not wet hands. Let's wash hands. You know, hand wetting is different from washing.
At least 20 seconds.
With soap.
Yeah.
With soap. And
Yes, she was about 2 months back. She's very light.
Thank you. There you are, viewers, wherever you are in the world. That is a Ugandan student, a lovely girl who went to study in Wuhan University. She has said it all, summarized it all. They have been under quarantine for 2.5 months, but things have returned to normal. If you watched her original video, you would know the difference between her now and then. She looks bubbly, she's out, she's engaged, she's telling the truth. Tomorrow or tonight we shall have a Kenyan, one of the Kenyans who are in the university somewhere in Wuhan, who will be telling us direct live link from there, and we hope we shall have enough information which will help and add on to what the people here in Kenya need to do. We are not saying and we are not showing these pictures because we want to get fame. As journalists, our role is to weigh and see what is happening. As you know very well, the CSR said wear masks as possible like this. I am on it. Miriam might be laughing, but where's your mask?
I don't need it here.
Where is your mask? I think I seem to have blocked you.
I'm saying I don't need it in the studio, so I can't wear it here.
No, we for demonstration purposes, this is very good for us. That is the mask that you must wear when you are getting out. Still continue to wash your hands. Still continue to sanitize your hands. Continue to report any incident of coughing, which is abnormal coughing. The usual coughing when you wake up and do, I think that type should not be. Don't waste a lot of time. We don't have too many doctors there are doctors who are looking at very serious testings, testing the blood, testing this, testing the mucus, testing this, the saliva. So if it is normal that you have been sleeping the whole night and all of a sudden you wake up, there is bound to be for the lungs to settle down. I'm not a medical doctor, but I think every human being goes through those, even during this, everybody does that. And please, except when you see running nose, when you see signs of constant flu and constant cough, dry, the one that is not enabling you to do it, please report to the doctor. That is our message, and you have had it. I think we have made your day. We have made your day. We have also tried, and for me, I don't know why this day is special. So special in the sense, I woke up working, I woke up hope, I woke up having hope, and I want to talk to people about hope. I want to resilience, about hope, about prayers. Do anything possible that can be done, which can bring in hope. Don't forget my best chapter in the Bible. Luke chapter 22, verse 41 to 45. Every time I look at that chapter, I gain hope to come on this studio. I pick up hope to come on this studio to say, to encourage many Africans, many Kenyans to follow the government procedure, to follow the guidelines that the ministers are putting forward. Every time I read that, it is God himself who has the will. Jesus reached a point to say, oh, why am I suffering? Father, if you have the will, and it is your will, take this cup away from me. I think Miriam will agree with me that when Jesus returned, he found everybody had gone to sleep. In a deep sleep. Don't go into deep sleep. Have hope. There you are, become bishop. Bishop Dr. Matanga. Miriam has never told you the story of how my father wanted me to be a bishop and took me to Bishop Tucker College Mukono. Most of you who are watching from Uganda, my relatives, that in 1974, after finishing O levels, the first point of call was Bishop Tucker College Mukono to study as a reverend or a pastor. That's where my father took me. and he wanted me to be. He filled the forms. Even when I went, when my face was very gloomy, he filled the forms. He said, you better study religion because we need a bishop amongst us in our family and the clan. Because we had my uncles who were bishops and one uncle who was a bishop, a reverend. So he said we needed a second one. And you talk too much, so you will need, you can be a bishop or you become a politician. My uncles came and removed me from Bishop Tucker College to take me. The other one took me to Bukalasa Technical School to study agriculture. Another one took me to Uganda College of Commerce to study business administration. The last one took me to Mbale Senior Secondary School for A-levels to study, and guess what? Divinity, DSG, because I had passed biology so well. They gave me a combination of divinity, biology, and geography, BSG. Actually, that is the subject. Biology, chemistry, biology, divinity, geography, BSG. And they said, how on earth how did I pass biology? I'm a very poor scientist. But that is what it is. Today, hope, hope, hope. Kenyans, don't give up hope. Let's look at this one. Here we are, Miriam. Where is yours? If possible, stay at home, stay safe. Listen to what the minister is saying. Don't politicize these matters. Don't make them political. Go early to the supermarket and stand a distance of 2 meters. I can see people standing very close to each other at supermarkets. But that is the situation that I have. Over to you in the studio, and I believe they told us to hand over, to release all the employees by 4. I therefore say, Miriam, I will miss you. Because you have to leave at 4. So that's why I'm saying I will miss you. Don't be I will miss you. We talk later at 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. The subject will be, I think we carry this subject of ours, mm-hmm, and we do it at 8 o'clock.
Yes, we can do that. And just before we leave,
I'll reframe it, and I'm sending to the headquarters before Mr. Stephen leaves to print the poster at 8 o'clock East African Standard Time. You will be online, and this time you will be very audible, because I have done magic in the satellite systems where I am right now. Is that agreed?
All right, very well. And in the morning while we were here, the total number of people who had been affected were at 723,124, and right now they stand at 735,821. Early in the morning, the number of total confirmed cases across the world were at 765. Right now, they are over 13,000. And also early in the morning, the number of dead people were at 33,986. Right now, they stand at 34,845. And also, deaths that have been reported today are 879. And so Africa right now stands at 4,760. 60 cases, adding to those from Kenya, the 8 more. I guess Africa now stands at 4,768. That is the latest, and the figures, of course, are set to change. So we see you at 8 p.m. East African time today.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.